Hello and welcome back to the Horizon Europe Health NCP Network Dashboard video series. In this episode, we're going to go into a little more detail on some of the data that you can access through the dashboard, how to interact with the dashboard itself to begin exploring the information. And last time I introduced you to the RNI proposals page. However, this time we're going to access the RNI projects. As a reminder, RNI projects will give you data on projects where the grant agreement has been signed. And if you're not sure how we got here, please see the previous video, which goes into details on how to get started on the Horizon Europe dashboard itself. Okay, so I've clicked on to the key figures page, and you'll notice that the landing screen looks a little bit different from the RNI proposals page that we were on last time. However, the principles around searching for data remain the same. Following on from last time, we're going to select Horizon Europe, and then this time we're going to select a different country. Last time we used the United Kingdom, or this time we're going to click Spain. Or you can select whichever country of the program that you would like to see as we go along. I encourage you to have a play around with the dashboard as we go. And then let's imagine that we'd like to look for some data for only higher or secondary education establishments, because perhaps you'd like to focus on higher education success rates or level of funding from those institutions. We can use the organization type filter and then click on HES. This is a higher or secondary education establishment. You also got some few other options here. So PRC is private for profit entities, excluding higher or secondary education establishment, public bodies, excluding research organizations and secondary or higher education establishments. Then you got RECs, so research organizations, or OTH, other. But for the purposes of this, we're going to just look at higher education establishments. Now, you can see that we're still looking generally across Horizon Europe, so perhaps you want to focus more specifically on the health cluster. Just like last time, we're going to add a thematic priority area, which will be health. And as you can see, the information on the sheet is updated to match our selection and will already provide some quite interesting information. As you can see, it lists a number of signed grants, as well as the net EU contribution. And the net EU contribution map is already updated to provide a heat map of where the contribution is going across Spain. But next, you may wish to go further than this. For example, you could be giving a presentation to some universities in a particular region. And in the previous video, we discussed the NUTS levels. This may be where you wish to use these levels, and so you can either add a NUTS classification to select your region, or in this case, I'm going to use the region selector of the dashboard to select East. As you can see, the regions will be country and language dependent, so you may need to do a little bit of investigation to make sure you're selecting the areas that you would like to do. Okay, so within the top participating countries and regions table, you can see that the dashboard has already split that further into the NUTS 2 regions, in this case, Catalonia and the Valencian community. And then in the top participants table, you have a breakdown of which organizations fit into the original higher education selection. The map has also been updated to reflect your selections, which will help you check that you're looking in the area that you're expecting as well. Okay, so we're going to take this one step further. In this case, we're going to look at some organization-specific statistics. For simplification, we're just going to select from the top participants table, and we're going to select the University of Barcelona. Now we've got data for Horizon Europe, and then making further selections, we've got some organization-specific data here, and we can see they've got 10 signed grants, and it looks like they received €6.85 million net EU contribution. Whilst we're in this section though, I want to highlight that you can interact with the data in different ways on the dashboard. For example, in the Overview by Program Pillar Thematic Priority Keyword Graph, if you click the triple dots here and then View Data, you'll see that it presents the data in a tabled form. You can also right-click on the area and interact with it to do the same thing. Right-click and then View Data. And within each one of these sections, you can do the same thing as well. Right-click and view the data. And this may be beneficial to you if you would like to view the data itself in a graph form to download all the numbers, or don't have access to tabling software on your laptop and just want to use the dashboard itself. Next, I want to highlight that if you know the PIC number, which is the participant identification code of an organization, you can actually search the dashboard for that. The participant identification code, PIC number, is a 9-digit number that serves as a unique identifier for legal entities participating in European funding programs. If you don't know the PIC number, you can use the European Union's Find a Registered Organisation site to find it, and there will be a link to this website in the description of this video. So on the Find a Registered Organisation page, you could begin by filtering by country, in this case Spain, then higher or secondary education establishments, and this will present to you all of the entities that fit that criteria. This could be a useful way to sort by entities if you're not sure on how it's going to be listed or the exact name or the organisation. However, for our purposes, we do know the name, so we can type in the University of Barcelona, and we can see here the PIC number and the fact that this PIC number is validated. If a PIC number is being validated, it means the Commission has verified the PIC code for the entity, and this improves the confidence that we have that this is the correct PIC code for the entity that we're looking for. Okay, so I'm going to copy the PIC code from this website. So returning back to the dashboard page, I'm going to remove the filter for the University of Barcelona, as well as the NUTS1 name filter as well. So we're now searching across Horizon Europe, Spain, higher education, secondary education, entities, and then health. Then I'm going to click filters, type in PIC, and you can see that we're given the option to be able to search within the list box. We can add in the PIC code, which we can click and filter. And returning back from the filters page, you can see that we have immediately filtered only by the entity related to that PIC code, in this case, the University of Barcelona. This is really helpful if you want to very quickly add multiple entities to the dashboard to compare. For example, you could list multiple universities or universities and small medium enterprise organizations, or any other organizations that you're after, as long as you know the PIC code. Okay, so next we're going to move off of the key figures sheet. So I'm going to remove all of the filters that we have previously applied. And using the Sheets tab here, I'm going to move over to the project details page. This page will provide you with details on projects funded, and we can begin by filtering further by Horizon Europe. Similarly to the key figures sheet and the other sheets on the Horizon Europe dashboard, we can use the filters function to filter the dashboard to show you only select data. However, you can also interact with the dashboard. For example, there is a pie chart of the split between different types of research organizations, and we can click directly on higher or secondary education establishments and filter from there. This has now updated the whole page to add the selection at the top, so we're now filtering by Horizon Europe, and higher secondary education types. So again, we'd now like to focus a little bit more on the health cluster. So following the same process as I outlined before, we can go to thematic priority and then type in health. Next, using the information that we obtained earlier on the University of Barcelona's PIC code, we can go to filters, type in PIC, add the code in, select the code, and filter by that organization. And then this refocuses the page on the university itself. This will now allow us to view the top funded projects or topics, and we can interact with this data to provide us some useful insights. Right-clicking the top funded projects, you can select view data or download the information itself, either as data, PDF, or an image. And this would allow you to view and analyze the data using any software that you have on your computer. Alternatively, removing the PIC code for the University of Barcelona, we can search by country name, which would give us data on a country-wide level, allowing you to interact with graphs. For example, in the overview by country region graph, if we expand the graph into full screen, then we can click the little arrow and select alternative graphs. For example, unique participations or signed grants. And we can unfull screen using the little X in the right-hand corner. You can also add more countries to the graph. For example, France and Austria. And now all those countries are mapped on the graph, allowing you to compare multiple countries at the same time. As a reminder, all of this data would be downloadable through right-clicking and then downloading the data. As a reminder, you can also full screen the graph, which provides you with a slightly clearer overview in this instance. And again, you could add, instead of countries, different organizations, which would allow you to compare different organizations on the dashboard as well. Okay, so that's as far as we're going to go in this video. I've shown you how to access data on a specific organization or different organization types, look up specific entities using a PIC code, and then interact with graphs and the data on page in order to start comparing statistics and extracting slightly more in-depth information. As a reminder, this video was produced as part of the Third Horizon Europe Health NCP Network project, and I look forward to demonstrating some further capability of the dashboard in the next video. Thank you very much.